Good afternoon, and welcome to another demented episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your degenerate and deranged host, Voice of Doom. Hello. I don't have anything much to say today, but usually those are some of the better ones when I have nothing to say. Got a phone call from Benjamin, which he usually calls on Sunday, from Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And he's doing better every week, it sounds like. He was very depressed 2 weeks ago, thinking he'd made a horrible mistake to commit to 4 years in the service. And last week he sounded more positive, and this week he's even more positive. I think he's realizing that he can take whatever they throw at him because he's a fortune baby and he's just a born leader. And he's got a lot of positive attributes. I'm really proud of him. He called and said, did I set up a PayPal account? And I go, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll send you some money. And he sent me some money. So he's a really good kid. He's really going to help me out a lot. And I'm not going to take advantage of him, but it's nice to know that he can help me if worse comes to worse. And that's going to force me to have the volition to not be so irresponsible, because if he sends me money to help out with the bills, I want to use it for the bills. I don't want to go pie in the sky. Let's parlay this money into something more. But he sent me a letter, and he had one piece of paper to write on. So it's very small and hard to read, so I'm going to recopy it into my own handwriting, and I'll read it into the record on another day. Because it's not just a letter, it's kind of a novel in a way. Everything's very colorful because he's a writer. And so he doesn't just tell me what's going on, he's very interesting about it. Writes about things in wit, jokes and things. So he was made squad leader after 3 weeks in basic training, and I said, you're going to move up because he's with a bunch of 18-year-olds and he's going to be 24 in 6 days, and it's just a big difference. He's more mature, and he toes the line, and he helps everybody else everywhere he can, and so he's going to move up. So that will be good. But anyway, aside from that, I will say that noticing some trends on YouTube lately. One thing I found out is you can say do not recommend. So I'm going to do that with all the CNN type sites, because that will tell them, yes, I specifically don't want this on my computer. So that'll hopefully give them some data to work with as far as, do you know that 10 million people have said do not recommend CNN to my YouTube feed? Okay. Yeah, boring, but I just found that out when I clicked right and saw it. So I'm going to start deleting and canceling certain channels from my feed. And you're not open-minded, you won't listen to the other side. I don't need to. I'm not going to listen to CNN or MSNBC, who are obsessed with everything that happens to Orangey down to the last minute detail, and don't pay one bit of attention to the utter rampant corruption of Petri Dish and his whole administration. And they don't pay any attention to any of the things that have been going on lately. Real problems going on in not just this country, but in the entire world. So I don't want to see them. If I get wind somewhere else that they've changed, then I'll give them another chance. But I don't see that happening. I see all orangey all the time, 24/7. And it's only going to be things that are negative. And I can't stand any of the people on those channels anyway. I just can't stand looking at them or seeing them or hearing them. So that's that. But some trends I've been noticing, aside from the mayhem and the destruction that's about to come, is a lot of wokesters and liberals are starting to kind of get woke, if you know what I mean. They're starting to wake up from their wokefulness and go, wait a minute, everything's wrong, and they're reasonable people. Just because you're a liberal, even if you're a left-wing liberal, you can have reason, and the people that have reason are realizing that this is no good. It's all bad. There's many gays of both stripes. There's two biological gays. There's male gays and female gays. And they're all getting sick of being lumped in with this transgender transition, gender affirmation. Why can't I be a lesbian too? And the whole 9 yards. The gays are getting sick of it. They don't want to be used. They're reasonable. They have brains. And they don't want to be used as pawns in this bigger scheme. And it's making everybody look bad. Transgenders are getting sick of this. Real transgenders who have known all their life and made great pains to change themselves are realizing this movement's being used to their detriment. Because I am the last person to even be resentful or have any kind of dislike for people of different sexual proclivities. But I'm even starting to get hostile because it's like, I don't want to talk to you. I wouldn't have problems talking to any cross-dresser or transgender or anybody. But now it's like, I don't know. It's the same with other segments of society. You're not sure if you should actually interact with them because you don't know how it's going to come out. If you're going to say the wrong thing. It can be with almost any segment of society. But I'm noticing a lot of wokesters are awakening, and they're going to be the most effective because they'll realize they were part of that tribe, and they're going to have to atone when they realize just how much damage they're doing. Now, it'll keep going with other subjects when they start clamping down on our everyday lifestyle, getting rid of gas stoves or getting rid of this or that, or forcing people to buy electric cars that can't afford it, or whatever they do. People are going to start waking up, going, this is a sham. They're forcing us to do things, and they're blaming everything under the sun that happens in the natural environment, everything that happens in the natural environment, every chipmunk that falls out of a tree, every blade of grass that fails to sprout is going to be blamed on this global warming business or climate change business, so they can change our lifestyle. Now they're starting to say this about this fire. They're saying that the kind of smoke that it's emitting is not from a natural forest fire. It's from some there's incendiary chemicals in those smoke clouds, which are making the smoke orange. And then they're blaming campers. Now, I don't believe anything, and I hope that if a camper is caught, that they're not given the full extent of the law, because you don't, how are you going to prove you didn't? I buried my fire and then I left the campsite, and then a fire started. Now, how are you going to prove that it was from this campfire? And even if you do prove it, how do I know to believe you? Because when we're talking about massive scale disaster, then a few peons aren't going to matter. They will take the fall. 2 campers will go to jail for life for doing $10 billion worth of destruction and inconveniencing people in New York City with the smoke. But I'm just hearing rumors, snippets and snappets about the orange smoke is not natural. It's not, and I didn't see orange smoke when we had many, many fires in California drifting into Nevada. And I'm talking about last summer was Mordor from Lord of the Rings. It was absolute Hades for most of the summer in northern Nevada, Carson City, Carson Valley. It was just absolutely smoked in. So I've seen smoke up close. But it's another aside. This diatribe ain't going to have any real cohesion. But different things occur to me as I'm watching stuff. It's kind of like this transgender business we have to get back to, because that's the main topic du jour. Excuse me. And that's what we have to be concerned about the most, because it's not fair to leave transgender women out of women's sports, and it's not fair to leave them out of lockers and bathrooms. Now, that's fine. It's not fair. But I've talked about transgender bathrooms. In one of my playlists, there's a whole list of transgender videos. But I'll reiterate, first of all, bathroom etiquette and just the whole unreasoned and not really thinking things through. Now, you have a transgender person, they want to use the women's bathroom. If they're truly transgendered, say male to female, they will pass. And you go in. I don't know how women use the bathroom. I know they're dirtier. I know that for a fact. They're less neat and than in the men's room. Because I've cleaned women's restrooms before, and I know for an absolute fact, indisputable, that women are slobs in the bathroom compared to men. Here's why. To women, going to the bathroom is a bit of a social construct where you take your girlfriend with you and you talk and you put on your makeup and you chit-chat and how do you like your date and he's a loser and can we make an excuse to get the hell out of, whatever they are talking about. And that's how they use the bathroom. Now, I don't know. In men's bathrooms, there are drunkards that are talking or arguing in the bathroom once in a while, but mostly it's just a time when we don't want to talk. Men, biologically, do not want to talk in the bathroom for some reason. And we certainly don't peer around and try to see each other's genitalia. So when women are saying these transgender people are looking at my genitalia, it's kind of like, what are you doing in there? It's just something to think about. Now, let's go to the gay business. The transgender person is there, but there's lesbians in the women's room, and they are very attracted to women. But do you ask them what their sexual proclivity is before they're allowed to use a stall and wash and put on their makeup or comb out their butch brush cut? I mean, they're attracted to women. They're in the women's bathroom. Now let's talk about gay men in the men's bathroom. There's way more examples of child molestation in the men's room. There used to be, and when I was a little kid, because parents just let their kids go by themselves. They'd stopped doing that in the mid-'60s, saying, anything can happen. You're only 6 years old. I will take you to the bathroom until you're old enough. But there are gays in the bathroom, and I already told you I've gone to public restrooms for at least 55 years by myself. Never seen another penis the whole time, never. Not looking for it, don't want to see it. People stand against the wall, and you shouldn't be able to see any private parts unless you're actually getting your head around the person's body and looking at it, which I never see happen. I've seen a few incidents in the San Francisco bus station that I knew were shady, and I just got the hell out of there. I didn't want any part of that. But transgender bathrooms, and I just wanted to throw those things. I've been wanting to talk about that for a while because I always hear about these people that are uncomfortable with men undressing in the locker room, or transgender men, women, and being all sticking out everywhere, or they're looking at the women, the transgender female is looking at the biological females. We used to call them GGs, genetic girls. But looking, and it's like, okay, but what about lesbians looking? Do they look? So I said nothing this time. I'm sorry it was so crappy, but just a few little snippets that I wanted to get in. And we'll talk about the mayhem later, because the rest of June's going to really suck. I can feel it in my bones. I'll tell you about the night I had on my next episode. It's really strange, and people are acting very weird. So I'll leave it there. I'll leave a cliffhanger. Have a good afternoon, and thanks. Bye.